Hello and welcome to High Caliber TV, your source for figure and model updates every Wednesday and Friday. So today on Figure Friday I wanted to talk about the current side build that I'm doing along with the Martyr. This is the Black Dog M20 utility truck base with some extra ground built up around it so that it fits uniform with the wooden block that I've got here. So today I'm going to be talking mostly about the oil process that I've been experiencing and experimenting with on this that I'll be using on the Martyr. As you can see, there are translucent, more or less, vertical streaks for rain marks, plus workup around the base here where the muck and general filth would kick up from the ground. Plus we've got work put into the edging around here with oils and around where the crew would walk along the flat portions of the vehicle. And plus there's been a homogeneous all over wash with two types of oils, thinned of course with mineral spirits. So the two oils that I combined to make the homogeneous wash and then some of the vertical stripes are burnt umber and ivory black. And this is just basic oil stuff. I don't really have a preference because I haven't used it enough to figure out the ins and outs. But I use this as a palette, just mix them together in there, add some mineral spirits until it's thin, and then apply it like a regular wash. What I wanted to talk about though is the other type of oil. Rinaldi talks about it extensively. It's his oil rendering. And let's go on to that. So what we're going to be using here is my old trumpeter LAV III, and I wanted to show very briefly how I've gone about doing some of the oil process. So what I'm just going to do, this doesn't really have anything to do with accuracy or anything. This is just a basic tutorial from my experience so far. So we've got a small amount of the oil here. We're going to take a basic brush, grab a little bit of that, take it, and just very lightly work it onto the edges. And once you're satisfied with how much there is, the way that I'm looking at it is when I do a wash with oils, what I'll do is I'll allow it to dry for 15 minutes and then go over it again with pure mineral spirits to a greater or lesser extent on the brush, depending on how much of the wash you want to remain, and then you clean it up. What I'm going to do with this is give it a little time. If you wanted the stuff that you've rubbed on to remain primarily, like if it's actually chips or something, some mud buildup, you'd leave it for longer. And then the mineral spirits would be able to take off less. That is to say, if you want to have something remain, don't cascade the model with mineral spirits. You want to just figure out, maybe on a test thing such as this, how much mineral spirits dilutes how much oil, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this for a second, and then I'm going to talk about the pigments on the M20. So the pigments that I'm going to be showing off here are primarily for the rear engine grille, and what I've seen is that what I'm going to try and replicate is the burn from the engine back here. And so with the two primary pigments that I'm using are from this old company. I'm actually not sure that they still exist. It's called War Pigs. And I've got Panzer Gray and Pure Black. Mix them in my trusty little dish here, and what I'm going to do is give them a bit of this, a thinner. I think they also call these fixers now, but I'm not sure if it isn't just rebranded mineral spirits, which you can get by the liter for, you know, $2 or whatever at an art supply shop. So I'll mix it up, and then I'm trying to get the glare off that, giving things, sort of checking how consistent it is by dragging it up. And so this one's quite thin, so we'll start with this. Give it a good mix. And as you can see, it's quite sooty, quite dark. Might be a good idea to add burnt umber to something like this if you're planning on doing engine grime or burns, because burns actually come out, they'll discolor things and create brown rather than black. Painting this through the camera lens is sort of unnatural to me, so you'll have to bear with me. And what I'm planning on doing is having this create sort of a discoloration effect, because the wash is going to be primarily translucent. As you could see, it's quite thin. But then once this is all said and done, and when I spray the final coat on the black, the wood block here, to seal everything in, I'm going to also spray a general black discoloration in amongst here to further solidify the effect. So we'll let this dry out here a little bit. And this grill here had been given an oil wash before, so it's still got that depth as well. So there's just a whole lot of layering going on here. Now, what else I would suggest using the pigment wash for would be if you wanted to have a different color brown in here, you could apply it to certain spots, maybe to some of the raised areas, some of the untouched areas around the armor. Probably on the gear is where I'm going to put most of the next wash. I won't be showing that, but it'll be the same sort of idea. And it's going to be dust, muck, grime that landed on the stowage. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this for a little bit, let it dry. I'm going to apply another coat here. Ooh, whoops. That was cute. So let's do a little on-the-fly example of how you clean something like that up. Take what you used as a thinner, put it on a new brush. Apply it. I hope this doesn't wear off the oils that I worked to get on here, but we shall see. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a second. I'll try and soak everything up here. How lucky you guys are to see me make mistakes on camera. Oh, God. Alright. So, pigment washes are done. We're going to leave that, let it dry, and go back to the LAV III. So this is what I'm using. I think I've shown this in videos before, but I'm just using odorless mineral spirits. It comes in a single liter. This was, I think, $7 Canadian. So this will last you for the rest of your life, as long as you're not, as I said, cascading it over your models. So this is poisonous. Don't drink it, obviously, blah, blah, blah. And if you're in an enclosed space, probably wear a mask when you've got it open. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, pour a small portion out, and then use this pure, because this is also what I use to thin the washes. Oh, good. Need a bigger modeling desk. So let's grab a small brush, something that I can control well. Take a little bit of the mineral spirits and just test it on one side here. As you can see, that's how you get the vertical streaks. And it's just like dry brushing, going rapidly back and forth. And then, if you wanted to, say, clean up one of those areas, or to make greater vertical lines, more of them, let's say, take the flat of the brush, go down. Now we're starting to get those vertical lines coming off. But it also retains the wear on the edge. So as you can see, it's already beginning to show the vertical lines, the wear, the grime, whatever it is you're trying to replicate, depending on the color, the blending, what other oils you have in stages on the vertical surface. This is how you create that. And so another great way to create wear, stippling. And there's yet another layer of grime added to the LAV III. So that's basically what I was working on with the M20, and that's how I'm gonna evolve and go on with the Martyr 3 as well. It's always good to have a kit like this that you can experiment with, and funnily enough, it just is sort of starting to look like a wreck that's been left out in the, you know, in the parade ground for too long. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. We'll move on to the figures for the M20 base later and finish that thing up along with work on the Martyr diorama. So yeah, this was sort of an off the cuff video, on the fly kind of thing. Made a couple of mistakes, but I think we all learned a little bit from them, and maybe next time I'll be able to actually paint through the camera a little bit better. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.